In today's video, we have the Galaxy S25 FE versus the Galaxy S24 FE. What's the difference? Stay tuned. Alright everyone, hopefully you guys are having a good day. Hopefully everyone is safe out there. We have the brand new Galaxy S25 FE right here. And I wasn't going to make this video, but I've been getting a ton of comments basically saying that I'm going to pick up the Galaxy S24 FE. There's been a ton of people saying they're going to go ahead and bite the bullet and pick up the Galaxy S24 FE. And it seems like a lot of people can find them under $500 and even under $400. There's a lot of phones out there in excellent condition on Amazon, on eBay, and on Swappa as far as the Galaxy S24 FE goes. And they are at a very, very good price since the drop of the Galaxy S25 FEs. All right, let's get straight into this. First and foremost, one of the biggest changes is going to be the body in terms of the weight. So the Galaxy S24 FE is going to be a little bit more bulkier than the Galaxy S25 FE, and that device is going to be weighing 213 grams. And the S25 FE, they have slimmed up this phone quite a lot, and the weight on this is going to be 190 grams. Both are going to have Gorilla Glass Victus Plus on the front and the back of these devices. Both are going to have eSIM compatibility, of course, and both are going to have IP68 dust and water resistance. So not a huge difference in the body of the phone other than the weight. There's a big difference in the weight right there. The Galaxy S25 FE is going to be a little bit slimmer and it's going to weigh a lot less. As far as the display goes, both devices are going to have a dynamic AMOLED 2X display. They're going to have a 120 Hertz refresh rate, and we're going to have a peak nit brightness of 1900 nits, both 6.7 inches. Both very, very similar to screen to body ratio. The Galaxy S25 FE with 89.2% screen to body ratio, and the S24 FE having an 88% screen to body ratio. And with that Corning Gorilla Glass Victus Plus, both are going to have a Mohs level hardness of 5 on the scale, and both are going to have a PPI of 385 as well. So really not a big difference at all in the display. Moving on to the software, this year the Galaxy S25, they released with Android 16, so we have the newest Android software on this device. Last year with the Galaxy S24 FE, they actually released with Android 14. So this was releasing with 2 newer Android updates on this device, and both are going to have 7 major operating system updates, the S24 FE being on One UI 6.1 and the S25 FE being on One UI 8.0. Now, as you guys know, last year's processor on the S24 FE was the same 4nm chipset, but it was the Exynos 2400E instead of the Exynos 2400. And basically, the differences between the Exynos 2400E and the Exynos 2400 and the brand new S25 FE is that the Exynos 2400 is going to be a little bit more optimized and a little bit more polished. So for the majority of people out there that really do not know a lot about internals, you know, the average user of a device, you're not going to notice an insane difference. But yes, the Exynos 2400 is going to be usually the more optimized processor. So the S25 FE is going to be a little bit better in terms of that. However, they are going to have the same GPU with the Xclipse 940. Both devices also released with 128 gigabytes of internal storage and 8 gigabytes of RAM as the base model. We do not go up in RAM from there for both these models, but we can go up to either 256 or 512 gigabytes of internal storage for both devices. So both have those options. Also, in terms of our cameras, the Galaxy S25 FE is going to have a 50 megapixel wide angle camera, an 8 megapixel telephoto, and a 12 megapixel ultra wide camera. The Galaxy S24 FE is going to have the exact same cameras. So not much of a difference right there. Both are going to also be able to shoot at 8K 30 frames per second or 4K 120 frames per second. So not a big difference in between both these cameras, especially not as big of a difference as I thought I was going to see. For that little hole punch camera up here, the Galaxy S25 FE is going to now have a 12 megapixel wide angle camera instead of last year's 10 megapixel wide angle camera. So not a crazy big difference. Again, we can shoot up to 4K at either 30 or 60 frames per second on that front-facing camera. Now, where we see the biggest difference and improvement to the Galaxy S25 FE is at the batteries. So last year's Galaxy S24 FE used to have a 4700 mAh battery, and the new S25 FE has the 4900 mAh battery, and it has a much faster charging rate. We have a 45 watt charging rate on the S25 FE compared to last year's 25 watt charging rate. Both have 15 watt wireless charging, and both have reverse wireless charging as well. So that's going to be the biggest difference we're going to see, is that the S25 FE is going to have 20 watt faster charging than the Galaxy S24 FE. So the big question is, should you pick up the Galaxy S24 FE? For the people out there that are wanting a newer device, you may have the S21, the S22, or maybe even the S23. If you want to pick up the S24 FE, that's probably going to be the better deal, especially since there are examples of that device on Swappa and on eBay and on Amazon, some under $500 currently, and some even under $400. So I would definitely give you guys the green light. There is not a crazy difference between the S24 FE and the S25 FE. So I think that's definitely going to be a good device to get into if you guys are wanting to save some money and have a little bit of a better phone or a little bit of an upgrade from what you currently have. But those were the differences between the S24 and the S25 FE. I'm sorry I don't have the phone in hand. I do buy all of the phones by myself. So, you know, it's kind of like a risk buying a phone every single time when I do a review or do a comparison and stuff like that. So hopefully you guys understand. I did like the S24 FE last year, but again, the biggest issue is going to be the price tag. The S25 FE should not have released at $649, just as the S24 FE shouldn't release at that high of a price either. So again, yeah, the S24 FE is probably going to be the better deal overall, until they discount the S25 FE during Black Friday and those Cyber Monday deals. So definitely look out for those if you're still looking to get the S25 FE. That's definitely going to be something that you want to stay tuned for. But if you guys enjoy this video, drop a like, hit the subscribe button, and hit the notification bell to be notified every time I upload a new video. This has been Safan from TechRight. Peace out, Tech Gang.